Hey everybody, welcome to Optimism Fractal. We're here for our 38th meeting, our second meeting of season 4. Thanks so much for being here and watching. I had the pleasure to be here with Will, who's in a loving kind of mood, Rosemarie, Jason, Jake, Vlad, and Chris. Welcome, Chris. First time joining Optimism Fractal. Appreciate it very much. Hope everyone's having a wonderful time. If anyone wants to say a quick hello or anything like that before I share the presentation, then feel free. Sometimes we do a little dance like that. So, Will, thanks for sharing the fun there. And yeah, I have a presentation about Optimism Fractal and the Respect game that I can share, so I can jump into it now too. But if anyone wants to jump in real quick, then feel free as well.
I say, roll that beautiful Optimism Fractal footage.
All right, thank you very much. Well, we're gonna roll the footage. You heard him. Welcome everybody to Optimism Fractal Season 4. We are here. We had a great season debut last week, and now we're in our second event of the season. And you can learn more about Optimism Fractal at optimismfractal.com. Optimism Fractal is a community dedicated to fostering collaboration, awarding public goods creators, and optimizing governance on the superchain. And there's a whole bunch we're doing that you can learn about at the website. So first off, we host weekly events that you're welcome to join. It brought a perfect place to network and make friends and collaborate with talented builders on the superchain. So RSVP every Thursday at 17 UTC, and you can earn respect by playing an amazing on-chain social game called the Respect Game, where everybody shares what they do to help optimism, collaborate to rank each other's contributions, and then earn a mystical token called Respect. We produce videos of each event, and you're welcome to join the videos to promote your work, raise awareness, and build your reputation, and watch the videos to learn about amazing builders and optimism. And we also are building open source tools, so anybody can play the Respect game and make decisions with the Respect game and do all sorts of other benefits too. So you can learn more by clicking the links on here. We also have a Notion site where we're building in public, and you can develop your on-chain career and business. And in many ways, Optimism Fractal, and also gain access to funding opportunities in the Optimism Collective, such as retro funding and so forth. We're working to help measure the impact and the value created by people in the collective. So more research, you can learn more right here. We're also trailblazing the future of governance too. So we're working on fractal governance for a while with many builders for the past few years. We have some articles you can learn more and some ways you can do this or participate in the Optimism Fractal Sages Council each week to help lead the community, and also the Optimism Town Hall, where after we play the Respect game, we have a town hall event each week where we discuss topics about the super chain, and you can also vote with respect on topics here. So I'll share a bit more details about that. You can learn more about the roots of Optimism Fractal with Eden Fractal and Optimistics, teams that started Optimism Fractal back in last October, and then the Superchain, the Optimism Collective that we're building with at optimism.io, base.org, many other great networks and communities that are building on the superchain that we're working to help. So you can explore all this and more on optimismfractal.com, and you're welcome to join us each week, of course. Each week, whoops, I just realized that I am not on the right page anymore. So let me just get back. I don't know what happened. Oh, I had to uncollapse that. Okay, so anyway, yeah, you're welcome to join the events on Thursdays at 17 UTC, and we're going to play the Respect game. So Optimistics put out some great tweets. First Reason making some excellent art, and so yeah, basically it explains some of what I shared there. But we appreciate everybody liking and sharing to help spread the word about Optimism Fractal and inviting your friends. We're really excited to grow and help the super chain and meet people. So very much looking forward to seeing everyone here. Rosemary is also been putting up updates about Optimism Fractal on the Optimism Governance Forum too. So you can see here we started a new thread on the governance forum. You can also see our thread from last season to see all of our progress over season 3. And then each week we share some updates where we're working to keep the community updated and so forth. So this is a great place to learn more. Also, the Optimism Fractal channel on Warpcast too, on Farcaster, decentralized social media network. We'd love if you share the videos or share your thoughts there in general, and then you can watch the videos at optimismfractal.com/videos, along with show notes for each episode too. We've been talking about the new season and also many topics with the Respect game and Optimism Fractal and so forth over the past several weeks. So you can watch all the videos back from the beginning of Optimism Fractal at optimismfractal.com/videos and the Eden Creators YouTube channel as well. Many more videos that are really cool there too. So yeah, we're going to go in the Respect game in just a moment, but first I'll just briefly mention the Optimism Town Hall for anybody who would like to stick around. At the top of the half hour, we have another half hour scheduled to discuss optimism with the Kagendas game, where everybody can propose topics and vote on topics. And it's also kind of just an open discussion forum for anybody who wants to talk about optimism too. So I propose 4 topics. Anybody else is welcome to as well too, but I propose talking about Optimism Collective governance, unifying the super chain, Optimism Collective identity, and just open discussions about Optimism Fractal. And all of these, we can just have open discussions as well as explore some educational resources that can help Optimism Fractal maximize the benefit for the collective. So those are all in the snapshot space where you can learn more, and you can learn more, find about how this game is played and so forth. But yeah, here's the topics basically. There's a little issue with the snapshot, so it's on both the Optimism Fractal and Town Hall snapshot space, working to get that resolved. Yeah, so we're going to play the spec game. Everybody here knows how to play, but basically we're going to go into 2 breakout groups, I think, because we have 7 people or so. And then each person's going to take 4 minutes to share what they've been doing to help Optimism lately. Feel free to just introduce yourself in general too. And then we're going to work to reach consensus. And if we can reach 2/3 consensus, or if the players in the breakout room can do so by the end of the game and submit it on chain with the app, then everybody will receive respect. So you can learn more at optimistics.io/respect game, where you can find videos and so forth with tutorials and benefits. And feel free, I think I gave everybody recording permissions too, so feel free to record if you'd like. Feel free to share your screen as well. Everybody should have permission to share their screen, and then feel free to share links and so forth. We love to help promote your work and raise awareness for what you're doing. So feel free to put it out there, and hope that everybody has an awesome time in the respec game. Okay, sounds good. I'll start up the breaker rooms now, and hope that everybody has an awesome time. All right. Hey.
Hello. Everybody.
Hey.
Everyone's had a great week.
I hope so as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Would anybody like to go first in your respect game, or
I'll volunteer. I'll volunteer.
Okay, sounds good. I was also going to offer Chris too, if there's anything that wasn't clear about Optimism Fractal, being it's your first time, welcome again. Thanks for joining. Feel free to ask any questions or anything.
If I could ask just one super basic question, I apologize for not doing enough research, but the what we're ranking for is contributions towards, I think it was like the optimism was how it was phrased. Does that mean the blockchain, the optimism blockchain, or what exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so if you go like the most exact details, or the most exact answer for that, we have a page called optimismfractal.com/details, which has like basically the formal game rules and agreement. And the way it's written there is their presentation should answer the following question: what did I do this week to help Optimism? And so that could be interpreted somewhat openly. But basically, Optimism is it's not a single blockchain; it's a collective of blockchains. There's a super chain which is Optimism, which is the combination of OP mainnet, Base, Zora, WorldCoin, many different networks that are working together as part of Optimism. And so generally speaking, contributing to the Optimism superchain, the Optimism collective, but also too, if you are contributing to optimism around the world, and you want to share that a little bit too in a more general sense, then that's welcome. And you're also welcome to just introduce yourself and interpret it as you like as well.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. I won't take any more time. So Will wanted to go, so I'll wait my turn. Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Feel free to ask questions again after Will as well if you'd like. Oh, Will's got a cool setup. All right.
I just noticed this when I went to share screen. It's like, yeah, this is a cool setup, right?
Yes, very nice. By the way, I'll put up.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, because we only have 4 people in the room, maybe do the 5-minute timer and the 4-minute timer if you want to go a bit longer.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, this new feature, it's set optimized for broadcasting. So I can't see anything on my screen, so hopefully you guys are getting a good viewing experience here.
Yep, we can see it well with the snapshot space behind you.
Oh, show meeting. Okay, cool. All right, well, let's get into it. Dan, go ahead and start that timer for me, please. I'd appreciate it. Hopefully I can get all this in the 5 minutes. Here we go.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, I think maybe framing this conversation is maybe more not just what we're doing for Optimism or doing for this community, but what are we doing for the superchain, right? So maybe through time we can kind of pivot into that, because as you explained, Dan, the superchain is this all-encompassing emphasis about multiple chain activity, and then congregating it all and potentially having distributed rewards against it. So let me start off first by saying for Chris, whenever I refer to the company I founded, Kingfishers Media, or Let's Grow DAO, which is a DAO emphasis that I am one of the core founding members of, it's all relative to superchain activity. So first and foremost, I did vote in every single snapshot that Dan put forth for Optimism Town Hall and Optimism Fractal this week. So I did exercise my governance vote against these proposals. Additionally, Rosemary sent me this nice little blog to familiarize myself with Fractalgram so I can take a more active role. If Dan or Rosemary aren't here, or one of the other key contributors not here to activate this game for the respect, then we've got additional resources that can do this. So yeah, I'm getting familiar with this document here so that I can take that more active role. Pivoting to Let's Grow DAO. So Let's Grow DAO, we just wrapped a 24/7, 15-day broadcasting effort on Spaces, and then also out on our 17 different broadcasting partners as well through their channels. So whether it's YouTube, LinkedIn, what have you. So I'm also the head of marketing for the Let's Grow DAO. But I also have taken the ownership role on the data set. So one of the first things I did here was do this high-level post on the Let's Grow DAO account page that said, basically how many listeners we had come through the entirety of the broadcast. These are all cumulative totals, by the way. How many speakers we had come through. Our longest session, this is our longest session effort. We maintained a single session for 63 hours, 47 minutes, and 45 seconds. And it's a community effort, right? It's not any one person being on Spaces or maintaining that, but we have 12 different people who ensured that happened. Our uptime was 95%, which is a good baseline because we implemented a new backend for hosting these sessions through a virtual machine. And, we were experimenting with that a little bit. So our downtime dropped from the previous cycle that we did. But it's still, I think, 95%. That's pretty good uptime for being on air, especially if you look at radio stations and things like that. We're still validating other data points, so more to come on that. If you want to tune in or go back and listen to any of the sessions that we hosted, 26 qualified sessions in here. You can go to spacesdashboard.com and search for Let's Grow DAO or Let's Grow. And you'll find all the sessions there in this catalog. Additionally, in the Let's Grow DAO, I did put forth a new proposal that is now in the community vote for a new growth officer position within our DAO and a working group around that to support that growth officer related to onboarding and education. One thing we've noticed in the DAO systemically is that this is a big need that when new people go out there and they join our DAO or they join the community, they need to have this level of education so they can know how to effectively participate. Also with GG21, we have here the contributions that were deployed from our wallet for KF Media. So all the different projects we supported, introducing Celo. Celo, I believe, is part of the super chain. I know ARB is not, but Optimism here as well. So we made some significant impacts there as well. Also related to KF Media, we did mint our kfmedia.base.eth address as well. This is part of On-Chain Summer effort. And then we also did register for the Sunny Awards, which is part of On-Chain Summer as well. And I believe also Superfest. Speaking of Superfest, did get the chance to check out jumper.exchange quite a bit. It's a very cool bridging mechanism for moving between the various chains in the super chain with more specifically unique tokens or coins to make that effectively, but it works fairly well. Also back to KF Media, I know my time's up. Discovered this new human translation GPT, which we're going to be utilizing to translate a lot of our content. Did light updates to our website on our events page here. Yeah, we don't have a lot going on right now. But one thing that we do have going on is that we are going to be taking a break from our broadcasting efforts that we do so we can focus on our courses that we house inside of our learning center. We've got 4 courses that we need to ship before the end of the year. And we've got probably about the same amount of books that we're going to be publishing for independent authors within the space of Web3.
Awesome. Thanks, Will. It's always really exciting to see all the stuff you're working on. Great presentation. Would you like to pick somebody else to go next? Or if there's anything else you want to share real quick at the end, then feel free. But otherwise, if you want to pick someone to go next, then that'd be a good time.
I'm going to pick on you, good sir.
Okay. Sounds good. I'm happy you did. Also, if Jason or Chris want to go first, I know I did talk a lot already in the beginning. We haven't heard much from Jason or Chris. So first I'll see if Chris or Jason want to go.
You were nominated, man, so I think that's part of the rules, right?
It's not formally part of the rules. It's a suggestion, I
Oh,
think. But
I'm in a rush. Go ahead, dude.
okay. I suppose I'll do it. One thing I'm a little bit concerned about is hopefully I'll be able to stop my screen share afterwards, but I guess I'll figure it out afterwards either way. That's never happened to me before that previous issue. Okay, so I suppose I'll go and put the timer on for myself as well. And so this week is kind of difficult for me to summarize because I was doing a lot of like little things. I was getting my presentation ready, trying to build like a narrative around what I'm doing. So the main thing that I've been working on, generally speaking, is working to integrate Optimism Fractal into the collective. I have a project that's kind of just starting for this, for the Optimism Fractal projects, and I also have some other notes in my personal projects and stuff like that. But working to collaborate with the Optimism Collective leadership and get all of Optimism Fractal's things ready in order, like basically get the room in order and the house in order for Optimism Fractal to really provide like the next level integration with the Optimism Collective. So I could share more about what I mean by that. So for one thing that I figured that's kind of related to this and was kind of inspiration. Last week there was a couple people who didn't know some things about the Optimism Collective, like what exactly is the super chain, and what is the Citizens House and so forth. So I put together some topics for the Optimism Town Hall that go more into detail about the super chain and Optimism Collective governance, and also I did a lot of research into Optimism Collective identity, which the foundation has been putting out a lot of interesting research and thoughts about. So I figured these topics can be sort of educational resources to help the Optimism Fractal community learn more about ways that we can, about how the collective works, and then how we can help better. So there's some topics there for each of these. I had like a little overview, and then each of these I also curated a bunch of links, like blog articles from the collective, some parts of the website that I could go over. People can just kind of take this home and read it afterwards. There's also some links from the Optimistics blog that I put together, or that the Optimistics team had put together over the past year, as well as some links to how Optimism Fractal can help with fractal governance and so forth. And so basically for each one of these, there's also a similar kind of thing for the other projects. There's also some related Notion projects I've been working on about like ways that we can help the collective. So trying to just organize that in a manner that is like easier for people to see and understand and so forth. And then same thing for these other resources too, like Optimism Identity and so forth. I had an issue with the snapshot space, as I briefly mentioned before. It's not verified, so I sent a message to the snapshot team to verify it, so we can post more than 4 snapshot for the 3 proposals per day or 3 polls per day, which wasn't previously possible. So I just reached out to them to ask for that, and also kind of start a relationship with Snapshot because we use their tools a lot and have a lot of benefits. I'm also working to apply for a mission in Optimism 6 with on-chain social games. So several missions, actually. I'm working on for one for videos too. And I sent a pretty long message to Dadas, a couple messages asking about the software he's been developing. Specifically, he's building an ORDAO software, or OREC, which will enable a decentralized and automated account that can be governed by respect, which is really interesting. And I'm working on a decentralized, automated, and compliant fund distribution system for the Respecting Optimism Fractal. I'm also working to raise awareness for the Optimism Collective so they can directly integrate this as well. But I can also set up like an entity to do this as well if I can raise funds to do so from the collective. Also work with Dadas or collaborate with Dadas a little bit on sharing more details about this. And also Jay Rocky, who I joined last week at the Superchain demo day. He had an idea about Optimism Fractal helping with delegation, kind of like a proxy in some sense. And so I started writing some notes about how this could work out and have some really interesting ideas there. So a lot of things I've been working on. I also joined Chris too. Chris is leading a community called Upscale, or playing a big role in a community called Upscale, basically, which is experimenting with the fractal process and the respect game. And so I joined there for the first time this week. And that was really interesting, and supported Vlad and several other developers who are building tools for the respect game, as well as I had a 2-hour conversation with Vlad about the tools he's building. There's some notes there. And I joined the Optimism office hours too, the Optimism Foundation office hours, and talked with Maxwell, who works at the foundation, and gave an overview of Optimism Fractal and asked about ways that we can collaborate, working on like kind of integrating it and seeing collaborations that we can arrange with the collective. I've been making a lot of updates to the websites too. So for example, I added this resources tab up into the top corner so people can find things that are relevant for the community more easily. And then just like little updates to my personal website, which features Optimism Fractal right at the top of it, and the Optimistics website as well. Nuno had suggested that he wrote a pretty inspiring comment last week after the meeting. So I started making some change based on his thoughts there to the Respect article and so forth. So I don't have much time here, but basically been updating a lot of websites to get it more ready for people to see it, helping out somebody named Eric, who's been a Fractal leader, who's interested in building with it, and several other people who reach out to me about missions and collaborating and stuff. I've been kind of just like responding to incoming requests where people are interested in optimism and missions and stuff like that. In addition, I put out several promotions. I collaborate with Rosemary on making the promotions. So I provide feedback to her and so forth, and then I put out some of my own quote tweets and stuff like that to help spread the word, and also supported Zal, who's playing the Respect game now, the Zao Fractal. So yeah, you can find my projects and tasks that I work on the Notion site, and that's it for me. And now I can find the stop screen sharing button, which makes me very happy. And I suppose if anyone wants to go next, then feel free, but maybe I'll pass it on to Chris.
Just say I love the fact you have music that chimes in when the timer's up. It's awesome.
Okay, very nice. I didn't realize. Oh, I see a little sound there too.
Okay. Yeah, there's like a sound thing that comes up. I thought, yeah, it's super funny because it's like you see on like when someone's giving a speech on a stage, right? And all of a sudden the hook and music drowns.
Is it playing right now? I just tried hitting the play button there. It made like some epic sound. This one's called Vegas. Do you hear it?
No, only when the timer ends. It only came up when the timer ends.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. I'm glad to hear it. I wonder if it shows up in the video.
It was hilarious. Anyway, made me laugh.
Okay, nice.
Cool. Well, you probably don't need a timer because I can't say I've really done much at all to support Optimism or the Superchain per se, because I don't even really know what the Superchain is. I'll have to do some research to understand that. I have like fundamental, so I come at, as you mentioned, I come at this from the origins of fractal governance, which came from Dan Larimer essentially, and it started in EOS with this community called Eden, and it did a different version of fractal governance, and it was deliberately around, well, initially it was a bit of a work proposal system, but really the intention was big picture was to turn us into a governance tool to select for representation, to have teeth and actually influence over a public blockchain or some sort of collective community that had actual assets that are worth managing, right? So what do you do with the treasury? The foundation you mentioned, the Optimism Foundation, how does that work? Like, are they appointed? Do they get inflation from tokens? Like, what puts them in power? How does community have access? What does community mean to them? All things I have no idea what the answers are, but questions that come to mind when I look at this type of thing and think of the applications to fractal democracy and then this fractal game, right? So yeah, very fundamental questions. I'm curious to know, like, are you guys looking at trying to provide solutions that are, say, Sybil resistant? Is there a Sybil problem on Optimism in the Superchain? It's a really good use case of this tool, right? You have concurrent video call. I can't be intelligibly communicating in two separate rooms at once. So it's a way to sort of validate that I'm a unique human without presenting KYC. So that's always been something we've talked about, Dan, as being a use case for these elections. They used to be an election. So I don't know, Jason and Will, how much you guys know about the other versions of this democratic process, but initially it was more like a political playoff was the term they used. And it was taking a group of people, they're about to participate in an election. You randomize them to small groups, just like we did here. We would select amongst ourselves for one person to represent us to move to the next round of the playoff, almost like a basketball playoff or a similar type of ladder playoff. If we can't come to consensus around one person, no one moves forward. So it selects for consensus builders. It removes people who are stubborn because they're unwilling to bend and unwilling to hear the views and incorporate the views of others. Whatever you're selecting for, it also depends on why election, right? What are you trying to do? So here, why are we here? What are we trying to do? We're trying to rank each other for our contributions, but why? Like, do we get something? Is there some sort of fungible token or non-fungible token that has value that means something to actually like why we're here? And are we all disparately? So like when I asked you why we're selecting, like what we're here for, and if it's just to support the Superchain or support or do something for Optimism, that is incredibly broad. And one of the downsides of super broad flashlight approaches to progress is you end up with a lot of people who aren't pushing in the same direction. Like we're all doing kind of different things. So I'm always curious, is there a way to consolidate efforts to bring a larger group of people to actually work on a particular direction where we're all pushing in one direction, and that kind of multiplicative effort of 1 + 1 = 3 type thing. So I don't think that's necessarily here. And I don't want to like suggest you guys change anything. It's just more curiosity that I have about how you're doing it and why, and what draws other people into this group to participate also, right? So what's the incentive for them? The Sybil attack thing is super useful. So when you're talking to the guy from the Optimism Foundation, I'd be curious. You should ask Dan, if you haven't, like, how are they viewing gaming, Web3 gaming? Like, is that a big focus for them? And one of the issues with Web3 gaming is bots, right? And so how do they have an attack for that? Are they doing a strategy? Sorry, are they doing some sort of Sybil defensive type of thing? And this is a great use case for that, because now we could all present our wallet address. We were all here. We all now get an NTT that is indicative of our unique humanness for showing up in this periodic election, for example. And then when you log into a game, it queries your account that you logged in with, and it looks for that NTT that says, oh, look, they've got the NTT. It says it's a unique human. Okay, I'm going to give you additional benefits in the game because we now know that you're a human, you're not a bot. So that type of, we've talked about this before, Dan, so I know this isn't new to you, but perhaps for Jason and Will it is. So anyway, that's where my mind's at when I look at this. I think it's great that you've got some traction, you've got some community. Ultimately, it's about how do you grow that and why? Like, why do people want to join? What's in it for them? And that's the fundamental question of a lot of blockchain communities, right? Often it's number go up. They trust a foundation because they're going to pump my bag. Okay, great. I'm a part of your community. Is that a useful community? Not in my view. I'm more of kind of a purist governance point of view and actually trying to solve selection issues and the issues with democracy that we probably all agree that exist. This is another mechanism by which we can select for representation that's powerful and meaningful and worth iterating on. But that's only one use case. Another great use case for this is I think it'd be cool if I'm in a company and I want to allocate a bonus pool. It's one thing to have your top-down leaders decide who gets the bonus pool, but why not do a periodic meeting with all of your employees who, depending on the size of your business, they probably don't talk to each other all the time. You randomize them into groups. They're forced to interact with people from different departments they wouldn't normally talk to. And then they can rank each other on their respective contributions. And then you receive, say, NTTs, like a non-transferable token. That becomes weighted against each other, and that becomes like a portion of a bonus pool. But like, everybody wins. You don't rank from first to last. You do like maybe first, second, third, and the rest are tied. So there's no real loser. And so I think that's a neat use case of the tool to do like bonus allocation. But anyway, I've gone on probably more than 5 minutes, or maybe not. But bottom line, I haven't contributed anything. So I'm here to vote for someone else in terms of the ranking that we will search for. That's all.
All right. Thanks a lot, Chris. Yeah, thanks so much for the introduction and the overview and your curiosity about optimism. I would say that curiosity is contributing to optimism, as well as being here too and sharing it too, for us here and anybody who may be watching. And also really appreciate your questions and advocacy for fractal governance processes. Happy to answer some of those questions too. Maybe we'll catch up later. Maybe during the town hall would be a good time if you have time to stick around for that too. We can talk about that. I was writing down some of your questions as you were speaking, and there'd be a lot to answer at the moment right now, but I would love to answer and hear your thoughts about it.
Yeah, don't answer them all right now. I blabbed out a whole bunch right there, and I have a habit of talking quickly. So,
okay,
all good. Let's pass it to Jason.
Sounds good. Thanks.
I'm gonna pick up that torch and run with it. You know that I think that there is a lot to the value add logic in terms of having an incentivized qualitative discussion, whereas like instead of letting the conversation just kind of wander or be about whatever, that to give the conversation a direction and to incentivize it being like focused to qualitative. There's real value to that. I think that in the space we all get a bad reputation because there's such a short-term bias towards just exit scams and pump and dump, and the video game industry has some temptation to that effect, which as much as it's frustrating, it's kind of like an existential frustration in my opinion too, that there's little to be done for the supply side or the demand side of people using video games, thinking of it like in a short-term profiteering logic. Whether they have to or not, I've been surprised. I've been thinking that, like maybe this is a short phase or something for society.
By the way, Jason,
although I'm not sure about that. Actually, I was very encouraged.
I was saying sometimes your audio is cutting out every once in a while. Your internet seems like it's not the best. Most able to hear you, but every once in a while it cuts out a bit. So I just feel like I'll let you know.
Okay, sometimes
I'm sorry to interrupt.
no, I'm glad you did because I want to make sure that it gets through. So I was familiar with Eden, Web of Trust and Proof of Human, and that I think that's a real part of the value contribution. I think that it's a way for people to take responsibility for what is automated that they control, and that there's an industrial expression that says if a machine can do the work of 100 people and one computer can control the work of 100 machines, uh, there becomes more and more automation within what a person supervises. But no machine can supervise a machine to qualitatively say did it work as intended, and that's the thing that needs a group consciousness in order to have staying power, because like the technocratic drift has sort of like um, specialization to it and compounding advantages to like minority groups and like a, a elite, I guess, sphere of control over industrial apparatus, and that's the plural for apparatus, right? But all of it, in that who decides if the machine is working as it's supposed to? Who supervises? Who qualifies to say is this satisfactory, or what to improve in the prioritized way, right? So I think that with fractal governance, as much as the question can be about um, whose preference is what, it can also be about what really happened. I think that the idea of automation and the idea of bots, and the idea of gaming or whatever, there can be questions about what really happened and was it a spoof, or is that a unique login, or is that a bot? And then the question becomes about what really happened. The respect can go to uh, the correct answer, and it's less so about uh, zero sum logic. I think that Chris really made a good point about the starting psychology or starting perspective to using fractal governance, in that there's a 1 + 1 = 3 synergy. The sum is greater, or sorry, yeah, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. That's a real prospect when it comes to these kinds of discoveries about verifying what really happened in any circumstance. Humans uniquely can give that with the assistance of digital sensors. If you see what I'm saying, there's a harmony between the way that automation and digital sensors, and say like just having notification settings for what else is happening on the internet, getting that information like an oracle. There's a lot of automation to that. You don't log in everywhere as a human, but that you can take more credit for what you've deployed for the purpose of creating a valid narrative. I think that there's another expression that says whoever controls the narrative controls the power, the center of power in governance, right? And it's not for anyone to control. The truth is the narrative. Whoever's speaking the truth is believable. That's a fact, right? So I think that there's some consternation that people have in their minds about how am I going to spin it so that the narrative is what I think it is. I think the healthier attitude is for everyone to take a step back and adjust just a little bit and say, let's not get carried away with ourselves, and let's listen to what the fact is and what really happened. It's a very valuable thing. It's what else can I say about it? It can be a consulting profession that has industrial benefits throughout corporate life and organizational life. So with that, I'll wrap up.
All right. Thank you very much, Jason. A lot to consider there. I appreciate you sharing your perspectives and wisdom very much, as always. And I suppose Joe joined late. Welcome, Joe. Good to see you. Hope that you're doing well.
Thanks, I am. I appreciate it.
Cool. Glad to hear. You're welcome. So all four of us just went and shared what we did. So Joe, if you'd like to give us an update, we still have 20 minutes before we have to be back into the community room. We also like to wrap it up a little bit earlier so we have time back at the community room where we're not reaching consensus at the last minute. So I don't know, Joe, if you want to maybe share what you've been doing for maybe 4 minutes or so to help optimism, and you can play the respect game. It might be a bit difficult because you haven't heard everybody else's, so you can't really rank it. And we don't really have like a formal rule about like uh when somebody needs to be there in order to play the respect game. But we'd be happy to hear from you, Joe, and we'd be happy to give you some respect if you want to share whatever you've been up to lately.
Sure, yeah. I've been just working hard, not too much with optimism. Got some OP in my wallet with the dips, and just been kind of buying it up is probably the biggest contribution I've done is buying hold. I was interested in the artwork on their chain, and so I've been meaning to talk to you more about that. I know that you do know some about that, and so I'm just here at the meeting trying to learn a little bit more, trying to be optimistic. I'm pretty optimistic in general, so just kind of fits anyway. So yeah, I haven't done much. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks, Joe. Always great to hear from you. And yeah, I'd be happy to follow up and talk more about the art on optimism that you're thinking about. I know we mentioned that at some point recently. You've been making you make all sorts of really cool art, so we'd be happy to discuss that. Lots of opportunities to create on the super chain. And thanks for investing your time and energy with learning about optimism and being here with us. If there's anything else you want to share, I think you want to take a minute or two so you can add anything else to the story, or if you want, we can leave it there and we can also start reaching consensus. So feel free to add anything else, Joe. Also, Will, I wanted to ask, I know you said that you were studying how to use Fractogram. So thank you very much for learning that. That's much appreciated. Do you want to, I don't know how comfortable you are with it, if you want to try doing it right now, or if you want me to do
I have
Fractogram?
not dug into it that deep, Dan.
Okay, so I suppose it's probably best
Yeah,
if I run
maybe
for it,
next
if I
week.
run it now. Okay,
Maybe next week. Ask me
sounds good.
next week, and maybe I'll be up for it. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks. We've also several developers are building Respect Game apps too. So I don't know how long we'll use Factogram for, but several developers have been building Factogram apps for like the past months, and it's always another 2 weeks away, another 2 weeks away, and so that's a really appreciated skill. So we can be able to expand to multiple, 3 rooms, 4 rooms, and so forth. So really appreciate you looking into that, Will, and looking forward to seeing you run it whenever you get the chance to familiarize yourself with it more. I'm gonna set up the Fractogram group. It'll just take a minute to set up or so. Joe, if there's anything else you wanted to share, then feel free. Or if anybody else has any other questions or comments for anybody specifically, it'd be helpful to reach consensus on the levels of contributions to optimism too. That would be appreciated. But Joe, I see you're unmuted. So is there anything else you want to add there?
I'm mobile, so if you want to leave me off the consensus, it's going to be difficult for me to push it on chain, etc. So I don't know. I mean, you probably have enough here to do it if you want to do it, but I just want to let you know either way, it's fine with me.
Okay. Thanks for that, Joe. Well, like I said, I'd be happy for you to have respect, but yeah, we do want to make sure that we have enough people to submit it on chain, so we get the 2/3. I could always just add on a proposal to council too. So I'd suggest if you want to play, Joe, then we can have you in there. I see Chris is unmuted too. I'm wondering, Chris, do you have an Optimism account?
No, I was just
Okay.
gonna say no.
Okay. We have a page. So if
It's
you
okay
want,
though. No stress on this meeting. I'll get it set up for future ones.
okay, I'll also set it up too because you might want to try real quick. There is we put a page together called at optimismfractal.com/accounts. I just shared it in the Zoom chat, and there's two ways to do it. One's with MetaMask, which is below, but the top way is with a new Coinbase smart wallet, which was recently released by the Base team, which you can literally set up in like 5 seconds. Like you can use if you have your phone on you or a computer with like a like a Touch ID or something like that, then you can do it with a pass key. So right at the top, there's a link there. So if you want to try, you can set it up real quick there. And then you can set up a different one later too, if you'd like.
I'm looking at it now. Yeah, let's see.
Okay.
Well, we have a moment. I think that the existing distribution of respect and the future prospect of it as a method can be used as NFTs are sometimes to unlock uh, entries to prizes or things like that, real incentives. And amongst the work group, I think it can unlock their it could be like used similarly as an unlocking mechanism for their bonuses, for the rewards, for how to distribute that if there is some portion to it. Uh, and I think that generally speaking, incentivizing good faith is good, is smart. Continue with that.
Yeah, great points. Thanks, Jason. And yeah, I agree. There's it's kind of up to us, like what utilities or benefits or powers the respect can unlock. So I've thought about a lot of things. Currently, you can do some things like participate in the council and vote on topics, and there's much more we can do, like access to special abilities or prizes and stuff like that too. So that's also one of the things I'm working on for the mission proposal. By the way, I have the so thanks for sharing that. I have the uh Telegram app set up for Factogram. So I'm going to share a link in a moment in the Zoom chat. And if everybody could please get their Optimism addresses ready to go, then that would be appreciated.
I'm having a hard time logging on to my mobile. It's been a minute since I got on MetaMask mobile, so I might not be able to provide it.
Okay. Yeah, if you're not able to, then that's no problem, Joe. If you're able to, then it's welcome and appreciated. Yeah, you can also if you wanted, you could follow up with your Optimism address too, and I could make that proposal if you like to. But otherwise, you could just, I guess, maybe it's best to just participate in the respect game for another week too, because you weren't able to hear everybody, so it would be difficult for you to vote. But if you are able to get up and running, you're welcome.
Okay. Yeah, that seems like the best decision.
Okay.
Just the latter.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I'll remember what you've been doing for the future, and I'll keep that in mind when doing the ranks in future weeks. And I really appreciate you joining. I just shared the Telegram link in there, so if everybody could please join that group. This is where we'll be reaching consensus for the Respect King, and we do have about 10 minutes to up until the top of the hour, so we could try to reach consensus pretty quickly, so we won't keep the other group waiting.
Up if I clicked on the right link. You shared two links in there, Dan.
Oh, did I? Oh, yeah, I shared the accounts link for Chris previously.
Yeah. That kept messing me up.
Okay.
But I'm good now.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so we have the four of us in here now. So I'm going to put out a poll where everybody can put in their account prompts. Or I'm sorry, I'm going to put up a prompt where everybody can respond with their optimism counts. If you've been able to set up the optimism account, Chris, then you could do it as a response there, like Will just did.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna do it through MetaMask because I don't have a key. I couldn't find my YubiKey.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, let's see here. I'm signing up. Confirmation link.
Okay.
I would say I'm doing this mobile, but I'm actually doing this from two devices. So one of them is the laptop to help with pushing it on chain. The Telegram app I use mobile. That's different.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I use a couple different devices at the same time too. The passkey should also work with just like most modern phones and computers too. And if you have like iCloud from Apple or Google Cloud, it usually saves there as well. But yeah, it's still a little bit finicky though too. So
Can this be done? I think that there must be apps, but there are ways. There's always friction. There is a it's almost jargon, right? The work you have to go through to plot around and figure out how things can go together, what method to use for this and that.
yeah.
And it changes constantly too.
Well, both Vlad and Abraham are both working on apps that will make it much easier. Like you can, for example, just sign in with an email or social media account or something like that. So hopefully that will make it a lot easier. Were you saying something, Will? I thought I heard something there.
Oh, sorry if I'm unmuted. Probably mouse clicking. My bad.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, if you think, do you think you'll be able to get that set up, Chris, momentarily? Or I don't want to put too much pressure on you too. If it's taking a while to set up, we can also start it and then we can add your account in later whenever you get it ready.
Yeah, it wants me to verify an address, so it's okay.
Okay.
Contract. Yeah, I don't worry about it for this one. I'm here to take last place regardless, so it's fine.
Well, if you get set up, just whenever you get set up, whether it be at the event or tomorrow or whatever, just let me know. We have a council system where we can make proposals. So I'll just make sure to make a proposal that includes your address in wherever you get ranked in this one. And then Joe, if you'd like to do the same too, then you're welcome to as well. So you can earn a bit of respect as well. And since I'm making the proposal anyway for Chris, then I don't mind at all putting you on there as well, Joe. It won't take any extra time. And with that, I will start up the poll for ranking level 6. So please rank whoever you think did the most to help optimism over the past week generally for level 6. I put Joe on, by the way, just because I figured I'm making that proposal. So, and we can rank Joe as well if they like.
So you guys are going with level 6 is the highest?
Yeah.
So you want to choose me, Chris? Because I did so much.
Too late. I already voted for Dan because I know him. That's funny. I think I've never liked this ranking system where it goes 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 because it's totally backwards to what we're used to. And what happens if you don't have all 6 people in a room? So you go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What happens to 1? Like
yeah,
irrational.
That's what we do. We've thought a lot about going first place and stuff, and we've never quite done that.
The only reason,
maybe we'll change at some point.
Yeah, you should. If you're not going to have a second round, so 6 makes sense if you have a second round, because then when you go to the next round, then you're going to have someone who might be ranked 12th, right? Down. So then it makes sense. The higher number, the higher up you go in subsequent round elections. But if you're just going to have a single round, there's no logical argument that I've heard yet that says we should go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, well, we could discuss that another time too, because I thought about switching a lot, but there's been some things that have stopped me from suggesting that too. But I see all your points loud and clear. Welcome, Gene, by the way. Thanks for joining. Hope you're doing well.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Hope you all are well as well. Sorry, thank you.
You're very welcome. We're just wrapping up the respect game here. So we're going to head back in the town hall in about 5 minutes or so. I actually meant to send you to the other room because they have 4 people and we have 5. But I guess you could just hang out here unless you want to go to the other room because we're heading back to the community room in a couple minutes anyway.
That's clever. Thanks.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Gene. Okay, so now we can rank level 5 or second place, as Chris might like to put it. Yeah, by the way, Will got level 6 there. So
thank you,
congratulations,
everybody.
and thanks to Will.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not easy being a broadcast producer for sure on social audio.
And what part of it, and with these votes, like which part of this ends up on chain? Like this is a Telegram poll. So
yeah. So this is a Telegram poll, and then once we finish with level 2 or the last level, then I'm going to put out another message that says click here to put this on chain, and then you'll see if you click the here button, then it'll go to the Optimism Factor web app, and it will pre-fill all of the Optimism addresses into an order, like on a form basically, and then there'll be a submit button in order to submit that on chain.
Got it. And are these transferable tokens that are being received or non-transferable?
No, these are non-transferable tokens. They're sold back.
Okay.
Yep.
SBTs.
SBTs, that's right. We have 3 votes in. We don't have a vote from you yet, Chris.
Oh, sorry. This is second place. So
yes.
But first place went to Will, so I shouldn't. Yes. Oh, because he's removed from the voting now. Okay, got it.
Yep, that's
okay.
right.
All right.
Voting again.
Okay. And it looks like I got consensus for level 5. So thank you all.
And if you don't get consensus in a particular level, then we just keep hashing it out until we do.
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
I think that this is one of those opportunities where I have to agree with Chris. Sorry, my video stopped, but I have to agree with you that I think it helps with the refreshed thinking to think backwards. Did you know that if you want an easy way to learn French, think like Yoda, who always reverses order of subject to predicate? Uh, think about this, you must, because said it backwards and funny, I did.
Mhm.
That's approximately the French cadence, and it helps with a little bit of neuroplasticity in terms of having people think a little bit differently. But
Wait.
I think we need some different sizes, opportunity for real value add by making this available for all group sizes, and let them think about how it makes sense to them.
Good points.
Yeah, and what they're selecting for. So if you're selecting for leadership, then you'd want to have a staggered set of elections to end up at a final council or leader, right? But if you're not selecting for leadership, which in this case we're not, we're just selecting contributors, then there's no there's no second round, so to speak.
Kind of
Okay, well, good points.
and then broadcasting the points.
Yes, I don't mean to cut off the conversation because it's a great discussion, but also we only have a couple minutes left until the end of the event, so I want to just make sure we get consensus on Jane before the top of the hour, if possible. We do have
for
votes
Chris for
now.
dialing in on so much value add opportunity.
Okay.
Will was an easy choice, and Dan was an easy choice for 6 and 5. I voted for Chris on this one because he identifies some real value add opportunities. And
Vote for me later when I actually do more than just talk.
yeah, but you and I are tied in that regard. So at least it was focused.
Well, we do have a tie right now, so we don't have consensus. Looks like Jason wants to vote for Chris and Chris wants to vote for Jason, but we have 2 votes for each. So if anyone wants to change their vote, then they can, or advocate further.
I insist, Jason, just take it because honestly, I don't even have my account set up. So
Okay.
yeah, don't worry.
Okay. We can go with Jason then.
And besides, what do these tokens even mean? Like in reality? Like,
well, you'll see. Stick around.
very curious. Yeah.
So yeah, and I could provide more details. We do have an article, optimistic.io/respect, that has the use cases that you currently can do with them, and then as well as some future use cases there. But just in the essence of time, I can answer that later. So we got consensus on Jason there, and then we can vote for level 3, and the options are Joe and Chris.
Okay, fine.
Okay, and we got Chris.
Joe owns more optimism than I do, but
okay, Chris is very happy about becoming level. You get that respect right there. All right, and then that means that Joe will be level 2. And then I'll put out the consensus results poll too. Thanks everybody for the great respect game. And now there is a prompt here. So for anybody who has a Optimism account available, Jason and Will, if you could please click where it says submit here. You guys know the drill. Submit on chain within the next hour, then that would be much appreciated. And then I will put that proposal in as well. Chris and Joe, whenever you guys get your accounts ready. Joe, I think I have your account somewhere, but if you want to just remind me of it, because I'm not sure where it is, then I'll include that in the proposal later this week.
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right, great. Well, yeah, hope everybody had a great time at the respect game. We are at the top of the hour, so I suppose I will just bring us back into the community room, and then I'll send a message to Rosemary as well to see if they're done, and then we'll meet back in the community room. We can have some open discussions there, and then we'll head into the town halls where we can have more discussions as well for anybody who can stick around. If anybody needs to go to the top of the hour, of course, you're welcome to slip out whenever. But yeah, thanks again, everybody. Really appreciate it.
At EOS, or you're involved at EOS in Somerville?
No, just a community member. I did
Okay.
work for Brock Pierce for a little while, who was one of the founders of EOS and Block One. I did work with Block One and Brendan Bloomer to get a $500,000 donation to the Eden community. But I have very fundamental governance issues with the current status quo and leadership of EOS. So not really involved other than being a bit of a complainer. Because it's captured any of these state-based changes. I don't know. I'm super ignorant to a lot of technology out there, so I don't know how optimism works. But any chain that's using stake-based voting to select for governance, we'll just call it, whether it's the validators and they have all the keys to be able to mint tokens, change inflation, whatever it might be. When it's stake-based, to me, it's just so flawed as a system. And EOS was a delegated proof of stake, so just a derivative of proof of stake. And as expected, it's been completely captured by a centralized group that are self-serving, in my view, and not really for community. So that's, yeah, I'm not really involved with EOS other than.
Okay, that's fair.
So does optimism work like that? Can I get it? Is there a simple answer to that? Is it a stake-based ecosystem that selects for leadership? Like, how does the foundation appoint it?
So first off, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining. We're just in the middle of discussion here. Hope you had an awesome time at the Respect game. We're going to hop into Town Hall. Maybe we're kind of jumping into it right now gradually too. But yeah, welcome also CryptoFeed. Thanks for joining. Looking forward to hearing from you. And to briefly respond to that, Chris, we can get more into detail about it over the course of this half hour and future meetings too. But so optimism, there's a very interesting governance structure, which is actually one of the topics that I proposed in the Optimism Town Hall, and I think you'll be quite interested in it. So there's the Optimism Foundation, which is where it's kind of like the organization that originally started Optimism and leads Optimism in many ways. And then there's the Optimism Collective, which has its own governance model, which has both a token house and a citizens house. The token house has a token weighted system where delegates people can proxy delegate their tokens and so forth and vote on proposals. And then there's a citizens house, which is a one person, one vote system where there's several hundred citizens who are working to make decisions. And there's quite an elegant system where they work together in different ways. And over time, the foundation is kind of phasing out its involvement. It's still helping a lot, but it's giving more of the power to the collective with the token house and citizens house. And
awesome. Okay, thank you for that. At some point, I'd love to understand how they've solved for civil attacks in their citizen group. Sounds like they have.
You're welcome. Yeah, that's something to discuss, and that's one of the things on the topics for today too. So we can get into that. Also, I think Optimism Fractal can help with that quite a bit too, as Heroes been putting up the heart. So we can head into the town hall. I hope that everybody had a great time. If anyone wants to just share a little bit about their experience in the Respect game, hope everybody had a really good time. So feel free to share. CryptoFeed. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, if it's Fede or Feed. If you'd like to introduce yourself and say hello, then you're welcome to.
Yeah, you're the first person that pronounced it the two ways. That's awesome. Fede is fine. I'm from Argentina. So my whole name is Federico. So Fede is the short name. I'm head of DevRel at Mode Network. I hope you know it. We're part of the super chain, focused on DeFi. We want to be the DeFi hub for the super chain. And yeah, I just joined because Deez actually invited me. He told me he was here a few times. And without any context, but thanks to Rosemary, I got some context now, and I think this is pretty cool. So yeah, my number one mission in this world is to bring new developers, help them as much as we can. I don't know what's that, but I'll do it. Great. Yeah, just bringing developers to Superchain. Yeah, Jason, what?
All right.
It seems cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you need anything on DevRel related or remote, just let me know, please. Always open to nice conversations.
Okay, sounds great. Well, thanks so much, CryptoFede. Sorry, I mispronounced it at first. And a warm welcome. Yeah, I've been following Mode and really excited about all the progress you're making. A super cool meeting. Deez as well. Hope he's doing well, and really appreciate you joining and also working to help builders on the super chain and attract developers and build relationships. So that's all very much appreciated. Hope that you enjoyed the Respect game. If you wanted to share a little bit about that, your experience, then feel free. Otherwise, we can also get into the Optimism Town Hall too, where we'll have an open discussion about what the Respect game and the super chain and stuff like that too. So yeah, if there's anything else you wanted to add, CryptoFede, before then feel free. Or if anybody else wanted to share anything rather briefly before the town hall officially starts, then feel free. I'll give it a little moment here.
Not really on my end. Thank you for the warm welcome. That's all. I got in late, so yeah. Next time I'll be here early. It was super fun. So yeah.
Okay, very cool. Well, then I look forward to playing the Respect game with you next time, and seeing you then. And glad you enjoyed it. Okay, cool. So I will maybe just go ahead and just share a really brief presentation about to kick off the Optimum Town Hall, and then we'll kind of return to open discussions. As always, feel free to just raise your hand or write something in the chat, or I suppose unmute as well if you want to say something. And very curious to hear everybody's thoughts. Welcome everybody to the Optimum Town Hall. We just concluded the Respect game at Optimum Fractal. So if anybody did need to hop out, then all good. Where we have 30 minutes scheduled, so about 20 minutes left or so. We can go a bit longer too if everybody wants to, as we're getting a bit of a late start, but we'll also try to respect everybody's time. Basically, Optimum Town Hall is a collaborative forum dedicated to conversations about optimism, the superchain, and it features some innovative community agenda games or Cagendas games where participants choose the topics. And so a place where we can discuss the latest developments in Superchain, help lead the collective, explore opportunities. Also, a lot of people here were just at Optimism Fractal event as well. So you can see the events calendar too. We're going to have the Optimism Fractal. We have it every Thursday at 17 UTC and the Town Hall at 18 UTC, as well as an Eden Fractal event where we discuss more of this. And for anybody who's interested in learning more about Optimism Fractal community, optimismfractal.com, community dedicated to fostering collaboration, awarding public goods creators, and optimizing governance in Superchain. You can learn much more about the Respect game and everything like that we just played there, but I'll keep the presentation short because everybody here knows about that. I think everybody's welcome to join both these events each week on Thursdays, and you can see the videos from each town hall. Currently, they're part of the Optimism Fractal videos right now, working on producing separately, but you can find these at optimismfractal.com/videos. So at the last town hall, we had a great planning session about the 4th season of Optimism Fractal, and then you can explore show notes and all the other different episodes we've talked about for town halls that started at the beginning of the 3rd season. So all sorts of stuff that you can check out there, and looking forward to making another cool video with everybody here today. You can check it out on YouTube. And for today's agenda, so I mentioned we play a Cagendas game. The way it works is that anybody can propose a topic with the Respect token, working on making more tokens that everybody in the collective can use. But right now we use the Respect token from Optimism Fractal, and whichever topic gets the most votes at 17 UTC on Monday on the Optimism Town Hall snapshot space is the topic that will be discussed. And it's also, like I said, just an open community forum too. So feel free, the agenda game kind of helps facilitate discussion, build the agenda, but feel free to just ask questions and stuff like that on your mind as well. And the topic that was approved today was, I proposed a little game we call Open Topics. Basically, it's a way that we can propose topics throughout the week. And also during the event. So feel free to vote on topics throughout the event to help set the agenda. And also, if you want to switch to topics, you can just write next topic in the Zoom chat to propose moving the next chat. And then we also have a system where you can hit same topic after somebody hits next topic to stay on the topic. I don't know if we use a system. We're still kind of experimenting with it, but it's here if we want to, if anybody wants to move on to the next topic. If not, we can also discuss it in the next week as well. And we can kind of just play it by ear, and we're kind of experimenting on this process as well. And as part of that, I proposed 4 topics for today's event. So one is about Optimism Collective governance. So Optimism Collective is a band of companies, communities, and citizens working together to reward public goods and build a sustainable future on Ethereum. So I figure at this town hall event, we can explore the innovative governance structures of the Optimism Collective, including the Citizens House, Open House, and opportunities for optimization with Optimism Fractal. So that topic has 340 votes right now. I think Will might have been the only person who voted. So if anybody wants to vote, I think they all have tie right now. So I don't know which topic we'll discuss, but this topic we can discuss if we want. I also got together a lot of resources here, some blog articles from Optimism and websites that we could go through if you want, or people can just read these. They're on the snapshot space where you can learn more about the Optimism Collective from their docs, their mirror post, the Optimistics blog, and also some resources about how Optimism Fractal can help. So those are all available for anybody who'd like to check it out. And then the other topics that are on the agenda are about unifying the superchain. As Crypto Fede just said, he's working with Mode, and there's several other great networks building on the superchain as well. So Optimism began as a single L2 chain called the OP Mainnet, but now it's evolving, and I think there's about 20 networks on the superchain. So we could kind of explore an overview and see some of the technical progress going on. There's lots of exciting interoperability updates coming up, and we can also talk about how Optimism Fractal can help as well. So with each of these, there's a little resource where you can learn more about the superchain with some blog articles of the superchain and so forth. And then I had another topic about Optimism Collective identity and how the Optimism Foundation is working to create a robust system for identity and reputation in the collective. So that can help retro funding the Citizens House and other important systems. So each of these have, like I said, like some links where you can learn more. And then I figured also just kind of a general Optimism Fractal discussion as well, where we could just discuss Optimism Fractal in general. But today, I don't know if anybody else has voted on it. Oh, I see Vlad's like, gotta go see it. Thank you. And welcome, Jacob. Hello. Thanks for joining. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but I suppose I can stop it there. And I guess we'll just, because no, I don't know if anybody else voted. I guess let us know. It's a little bit difficult for me to hop around and see which one has the most votes at the time. But so far, oh, it looks like somebody voted for unifying the superchain. Rosemary did. So I guess we'll start it out there. And I guess I'll show here because I didn't show this previously. There's some articles here that I have linked up, and I could show you each of these in the folder, which I'm losing a little bit. My apologies for a little bit of confusion, but basically, yeah, each of these we could see. For example, if you go to optimism.io/build, you can learn more about what is the superchain and how people are building on the superchain and find out different chains that are building on the superchain. And there's also been some really interesting blog articles too that have come out that you can learn about on the Optimism Collective blog. Jacob Bohr, I hear you speaking, but it sounds kind of strange. Would you like to say hello?
Oh, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. It wasn't supposed to be open, and thanks for the welcoming.
Okay, you're very welcome, and no problem. And we'd love to hear you introduce yourself shortly too, if you'd like. So feel free if you'd like to. Rosemary just shared the link to the snapshot space with our topics proposed today too. I suppose maybe just to kick us off, I'll share a couple more quick things about the superchain, and then we can kind of just have an open discussion about it. One thing I want to share is also there's this Dune dashboard which shows all the growth of superchain. It's growing quite a bit too, so a helpful resource to learn more. Obviously, Base is leading the way in many ways. You can see some of these chains growing over time: Mode, Zora, Metal, Mint, Cyber, Fractal, Base, OP Mainnet, Lisk, Redstone, all sorts of chains doing really cool stuff here that people can learn more about. And there's also been some great blog articles too about the superchain on the Optimism Collective blog on Mirror, optimism.mirror.xyz, talking about how optimism is evolving into the superchain and all the things going on. There's been a lot of interesting talks too. Interoperability is getting very close, so kind of unify the whole superchain. So lots of things that we could explore, but like I said, you can explore these later. We've also been working on a project to engage with the superchain. I linked to the wrong thing here, but engage with the superchain. That there was a project in the Optimism Fractal Notion site where you can see some recent discussions that we've had, as well as some other tasks and links where we talked about helping the superchain in our 33rd episode, and also when we approved a proposal as Optimism Fractal to optimize governance on the superchain as well. So there's some more links you can learn there. You can go to optimismfractal.com/videos. But yeah, like I said, curious to hear everybody's thoughts, and I just figured I could share a little brief overview there. So hopefully that was helpful for everybody, and I can share the link, or I think Rosemary can share the link in the chat for anybody who wants to read more into those. Those are all also on Snapshot Space for Optimism Town Hall. And yeah, so basically an open discussion here about the superchain. Feel free to also ask about the collective as well too. Jacob or like I said before, if you'd like to, you're welcome to introduce yourself and say hello. I think you might be working with CryptoFede at Mode as well, but I'm not totally sure. So hello.
Yes, hello. Thanks for welcoming me. I'm working with the Token Engineering Academy. Now they are developing a research arm, and we are working into mission requests for governance. And I'm basically trying to engage more with the optimism ecosystem, trying to figure out the structure to make decisions and understand. Also, we had this question this week if it was a type of conflict if we were working with two proposals at the same time. So I wanted to ask that as well.
Okay, sounds good. Well, welcome. Thanks so much for joining. I've been following Token Engineering Academy for a while, and really excited about the things you're doing. I've read many of your articles and watched your videos, so looking forward to hearing more about your proposals. And hopefully you'll be able to join in future weeks too, a bit earlier. We play the Respect game, so we'd love to see you there. And then regarding your mission proposal, I can just maybe briefly respond to that too. So probably the best place. I don't think there'd be a conflict of interest. I'm also working on making multiple mission proposals too. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Optimism Grants Council office hours. They happen on Mondays at 16 UTC. So that would be the place where you can get like the most specific answers about that, as well as in the Optimism Discord. There's a Grants Council channel there where you can ask that. But I'm pretty sure that it should be okay as long as there's not, I don't know. I suppose there could be some conflicts of interest, but from just making different proposals, then I don't imagine there'd be an issue there.
Thanks, Dan. I think that's all by the moment. And yes, I'm just trying to keep it up with the information you are collecting and yes, sharing with the community.
Okay, sounds good. Well, you're very welcome. And you're looking forward to collaborating with you and Token Engineering Academy too, as I was saying before. So thanks again. And I see CryptoFed is unmuted too. Was there something you want to say, CryptoFed?
Yes, sir. Just one question about the office hours you mentioned for Mondays. I usually go to the L2 Beats one, managed by Christoph, but I didn't know Optimism had office hours. So if you have a link or where can I find that, that would be great. I'll be there next Monday for sure.
I just shared the link in the chat. It's the first link which leads to the governance calendar. When you add it to your Google Calendar, then you'll see it have all the governance events there, including the one.
Awesome. That's perfect. Thank you very much. Added the calendar now. Also, Rosemary, I don't even know how to pronounce it yet. I'm changing the pronunciation every time just to see if I get it right. But
right.
Okay, great. Yeah, she mentioned that, for example, I have right now, I talk to a lot of developers trying to get into the super chain. A lot of them don't know about the mission request. So I usually share the link where all the missions are listed. And a lot of those are really good for devs that are looking to contribute open source or stuff like that. Is there any place where I can bring those devs whenever they have a question? Like, I don't know, question specifically on a mission request, or questions to just talk to some of the OP Labs people to see if they can help in any way and then like the open source repos. I'm trying to find more information on how like these developers could be helping Optimism, open source or via mission requests. So yeah, I didn't know exactly the place to ask.
All right. Thank you for the question. Thank you, Rosemary, for sharing the link as well. And so, yeah, a few different places that I can suggest. So one is these meetings here. There are many builders and developers who join the Optimism Fractal meetings in the town halls. And the Fractal meetings, the way that we go into the breakout rooms, it provides a great opportunity for developers or any kind of person who's interested in optimism to join and network and collaborate with different builders and ask questions and build relationships. And there's lots of developers in the community who'd be interested to help out, and lots of kind of opportunities just to talk in between playing the games, as well as during these Optimism town halls. We can schedule topics specifically about it with educational resources, and people can post topics. So that's one, and you already know the links there. So I encourage you and appreciate if you share with developers. We love to meet developers too, and we'd be happy to help. And then secondly, the mission proposal or the mission, the Grants Council office hours can be a helpful way to do that. The grants counselors are quite open to answering questions, so that can be a place where you can ask them. Another thing you might be interested too is the developer advisory board too. So just over the past couple of months, Optimism Collective launched a developer advisory board. And they had their first meeting actually last Tuesday, I think. I just watched the video, or just listened to the video of it too. There's like, I think 10 really smart developers who are leading in base and leading in optimism and stuff like that. I don't know if they're from the OP Labs team, but I know the OP Labs people were on the call when they're doing that. And basically the intention of the developer advisory board is to provide support for developers on the superchain in various ways. And I think they're planning to have these calls on a more recurring basis too. So that could be perhaps a very good fit as well.
That is, I need to be there then, or watch the recordings. Do you know how I can get there? Is it in the governance as well? Maybe
Yeah, so the best place to keep up in general with Optimism updates, for the most part, or actually at least a really good place and kind of the source of where a lot of it happens, is the Optimism Governance Forum, which you can find at gov.optimism.io. And then I
Yeah,
don't have the link. So I just real quick just searched in the gov.optimism.io top section, and I found this link. I just searched for Developer Advisory Board, and there were several things that came up. I know Rosemary actually shared me the video. In a different message. I think that might have been in I don't know where she found that video exactly, but
that's
if you just search
perfect.
for
I'll
Developer
find it.
Advisory Board, you can find the video,
Yeah,
you can find the events and so forth as well. Yeah.
that's perfect.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you very much. You'll see me around then. I'll be in those videos soon. Yeah.
Like
All right.
once you add the governance calendar, you can go back to 13th of August. That's where you see that meeting, and the recording is attached to that meeting slot on the 13th of August. That's how I found it. And the next one is in October 8th. And also,
Perfect. That's awesome.
I
Yeah.
think his name is Mark Tyron. I'll share his name. I think he's working for OP Labs, and he's leading interoperability. So he's probably a really good person to reach out to and form contact. I'll share his contact and Twitter in the chat.
That's awesome. I've joined for like 40 minutes and you already helped me so much. And that I'm close to OP folks with Mark, Benji, and everyone, but it's hard to navigate the OP ecosystem. There's so many things happening at the same time and so many different things that we can be helping here. I'm actually working with Lyra. Her name is Valentina. She just joined like 2 months ago to as head of, I think she's head of, I don't know, developer marketing. So yeah, I was talking with the group earlier that I want to run a kind of a developer bootcamp for Web2 to Web3 devs for the super chain. So we've run one for Mode. We got like 38 developers. Oh, Gene, I think you have your. There we go.
Yeah, just muted there, Gene.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, yeah.
And we had like 38 developers come out of that. The problem is I don't have a place, or I don't have anything to do for 38 developers just coming into Web3, right? I can point them towards a hackathon. I can point them towards a few things that we want to build. I can take a few as ambassadors, but 38 developers freshly new, it's hard to motivate all of them to stay on Mode. But if we do it super chain and they have the chance to go to Zora, they have the chance to go to WorkCoin, Base, and all of the things, and even Optimism for the mission requests and stuff that we're doing here, that's another thing. So yeah, that's kind of the motivation and a few things that we're gonna try and do. So yeah, thank you for the information, the guidance and everything. I'll have a lot of work to do to just chase a lot of people and connections.
All right. Well, you're very welcome. Thanks so much, CryptoFede, for asking, as well as you're working to help empower developers on the superchain and on Mode. So I'm very glad that this has been so helpful for you so far. And yeah, feel free to reach out. We have a Discord too. So if you want to ask any questions throughout the week, or if you have other questions that arise that come to mind, then feel free to come back and ask them in future weeks. And we'd love to see you. And then also, so I mentioned Optimism Fractal can help too. So Optimism Fractal, the way we go into breakout rooms at each event, it provides a very scalable way to attract developers into the ecosystem. I'm actually working on a couple of proposals right now for mission requests with Optimism, talking about the benefits of how Optimism Fractal can attract developers onto the superchain, which is one of the main core intents of the Optimism Collective right now. And so I think that we could help a lot and maybe do some collaborations with Mode where people, developers who are building on Mode or thinking about building on Mode, if you're interested, you can invite them to Optimism Fractal events, and the community is able to grow, the dozens, hundreds, thousands of developers, because it can go in this fractal manner. We have breakout rooms and so forth. So it could be a good way to provide a lot of value for the developers as well. So
yeah, for sure. I'll try to bring some next week then and see what happens. But yeah, for sure. This has been great value for me already. So yeah, I want to get back. And yeah, we're all together here to grow the super chain.
Okay.
Awesome.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks a lot. All right. So we're almost at the top of the half hour. And we haven't heard from most people yet, too. So I'm happy to go longer. We did get started probably like 5 to 10 minutes late. So maybe it makes sense if we go 5 to 10 minutes late. Last week we did it to the top of the hour, which we could do at the community ones, but also want to be respectful of his time. If anybody wants to slip out at any point, then you can, as I said before, but also want to give everybody else an opportunity to speak or ask questions if you'd like. Will, Jason, Jean, Jake, Joe, Rosemarie, Chris, Jacob, or if you had any other thoughts or questions, Chris?
Yeah, I got to run to another call here, but just want to say thank you and nice to meet everyone who I've spoken with thus far. And I think I'll probably PM you directly, Dan, just to ask some directed questions to see how I can find ways to contribute and engage. So,
okay, sounds great. Well, thanks so much, Chris, for joining. Really appreciate it. It's been great speaking with you, and looking forward to your PM and happy to answer questions. And looking forward to collaborating.
Okay.
I appreciate that, and I know that Chris is coming from the side that is starting from Fractal, and it's kind of like people have starting places where they arrive at this meeting in particular, right? It's about optimism, and it's about, well, I guess super chain logic of things bridging and coming together.
Yep. Well said, Jason. Thank you for the insights, and I agree. Floor is open now too, if you want to add anything else, Jason, or like I said, if anybody else wants to share some thoughts, or we could wrap it up too at the half hour, like is planned. Happy to wrap it up whenever, if y'all would like.
You know, one of my favorite memes on the internet is the cartoon voice from the other room saying, "Just come to bed because it's late. It's 3 a.m." And then there's a person hunched over the computer saying, "I can't go to sleep. There's somebody wrong on the internet." The fact of the internet is that we need good faith between parties that disagree, that start with an assumption that there's a better way to find a synergy rather than the assumption of zero sum, right? And that I think that the inflation model of token economics really, really encourages that. And to incentivize that kind of discussion, that's what governance is and needs, right? We share the world and the internet, and it's a big place, right? So what really happened is everything. What is the record? What is the truth?
Yeah, it reminds me, I was just listening to a podcast with Carl Flisch, who's one of the co-founders of Optimism, and they were talking quite a bit about the positive sum nature of the superchain, and how the OP stack is all open source, and the way that the collective is designed and the way that largely Web3 is designed, but especially the Optimism superchain, it really fosters that kind of positive sum mindset and positive sum game. So very excited to collaborate with builders in the superchain. And like I think you and Chris mentioned, 1+1 = 3. That's also at the root of fractal governance, fractal democracy, like we do here, and the respect game. So love to see it. Great points.
Over time, it's actually a small exponent. So over time, it can be more than that. Theoretically, what synergy means is that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Optimism is a thing. Fractal is a thing, right? Mode, I just visited it for the first time, is another layer too, right? There are all these parts that come together. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. That was true of the first internet. It's true of every version of internet there's ever been. As we go.
I agree. Yeah, and it's getting more so as well, because Web 2 did have the habit of making it sometimes a negative sum game, where big corporations would extract from people too. So one person wins, or like the corporation wins while the person loses sometimes. But especially there has been a lot of positive sum game over the course of the internet, and especially with Web3 and the superchain. The incentives are getting better and better aligned, and I believe it will create tremendously positive impacts for the world.
Yeah, I think that both are true. I think that there are times when there is zero sum logic. There's only one stake in 20 lions, right? That's zero sum. There are times when both are true, but lions aren't expected to be sophisticated or aware of the other possibility beyond their senses. Humans are. We're supposed to look for where there is that synergy. I had a discussion at Crypto Oasis last week about what I found to be a bit of a troubling logic for that, for like actually measuring when there's a win-win and when there's zero sum, and how governance around it unfolds and stuff. And as much as it was troubling, it also really helped clarify what to look for too, and what to know in the first place. Because both are true. Both are true. There's such a thing. You know, what I'm saying here with this, I think that the the narrative of truth is something that really, like, you can transform an enemy into a friend as soon as you start realizing that, okay, you got your space, I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing, and in the end we have a good world, and in the end we'll have a good life. That
Yep, I
it's
agree.
like putting on glasses, like putting on reading glasses for a person who doesn't know what that would look like until they know what that is. Until they feel
Okay, good points. I see CryptoFed say needs to run on a call, but thanks for the info. You're very welcome, CryptoFed. Thanks, Fede, I should say. Looking forward to seeing you again soon, and hope you have a great day. Rosemary, you were saying something too? I'm sorry to cut you off.
I said I'm going to go soon too.
Okay, sounds
Everyone-
good.
It's time.
Yeah, I'm ready to wrap it up whenever. I just wanted to see. I see Jacob. But by the way, am I pronouncing your name? I don't know how to pronounce it. Should I say Jacob or Jacob R?
Yeah, Jacob. It's okay. It's Jacobo. It's in Spanish, but it's okay, Jacob.
Okay. All right, cool. I'll go with Jacob.
Okay.
Sounds good. I don't know. So yeah, as I was saying, we're over time for the schedule. Happy to go a bit longer too. Jacob, I don't know if you wanted to further introduce yourself or share any other thoughts or questions, or perhaps the other Jake or Joe or Will wanted to share any thoughts before we wrap up. Should we wrap it up, or does anybody else? Jacob, do you have any last things you want to share?
No, really well, my introduction, maybe if it's interesting for some or for connecting further, well, apart from Token Engineering Academy, I'm with Mega Labs, working with Lido as the community staking model. So yes, like that's the parallel thing I do. I'm based in Barcelona, so at any moment you come, I'm here, and that's it. Looking forward to keep pushing and see what yes, optimism brings to the table.
Okay, sounds great. Well, thanks for the invite, and thanks for the overview and introduction, and looking forward to collaborating with you on Optimism. And yeah, I also have some notes too. Well, first off, Rosemary shared the Discord group, so if anyone wants to join there, and then you can follow up in chats there, very welcome to do. Thanks for sharing that, Rosemary. I have been looking into Token Engineering Academy, several of the initiatives that you guys are working on for assessing reputation in the Optimism Collective. So at some point I can reach out or something like that and share some of the projects that we have. But in the Optimism Fractal Notion site, I have several ideas about ways to collaborate. So I'm sure there's lots of opportunities to collaborate in the future. And feel free to reach out as well if there's anything we can do to help in particular. And I hope to see you at the upcoming events as well. We meet on every Thursday.
That would be amazing. Actually, we're interested in looking for more reputation-based projects and research. And yes, that's why the research arm is trying to be developed, and obviously other collaborations. That would be amazing.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, we're also working in the same space on many of the same problems and issues. Optimism Fractal with the respect token we give out each week that serves as a decentralized reputation system, and also the foundation for a decentralized governance system too. I think you mentioned governance as well in your mission proposal. So yeah, I've been a big fan of what you're doing, and looking forward to talking more about how we can best collaborate.
Amazing, man. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sounds good. All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. See you, Jacob. Have a great day. Should we wrap it up? Anybody else have any last thoughts you want to share? Anything else on your mind?
Good. It's been a great session.
Okay, sounds good. Glad you enjoyed it. Well, Jake, Joe's out.
Overtime.
Jason, yeah, we are over time. We probably should, I guess, try to keep schedule. Although also, I'm happy to go a bit longer as we have, because it's been interesting. But yeah, I suppose we can wrap it up.
All right.
Jake, is there anything else you want to add, or I suppose we could just wrap it up. I think we're probably ready to do so.
No, just yeah. Thank you for everybody for running all of this. It's always a wonderful time every week. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And thank you very much, Jake. I really appreciate you joining and all the stuff you're doing in Optimism and in the world in general. All right, you ready to wrap it up? Any last thoughts from anybody? Or Jason, I think you were saying ready to wrap it up. Okay.
I have two. If I start, it'll go too long. There's no point. Save it for next week. Just the same stuff.
Okay, well, I'm sure it'll be interesting. I don't think it'll be the same stuff, but yeah, we can save it for next week though, and look forward to it for next time. If we'd all like, we could wrap it up on a 3, 2, 1, go Optimism or go Super Chain, perhaps, because that was one of the main topics we discussed today. What do you think?
Okay.
Go Super Chain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go Super Chain.
All right. Sounds good. You ready?
The super chain.
3, 2, 1. Go Super Chain! All right. Thanks everybody so much. There goes
Go fly like
moving.
Superman. Go fly like Superman, right?
All right. Thanks so much. Looking forward to flying and seeing you again next week on Optimism Practical and Town Hall Thursday the 17th UTC. Thanks everybody so much and see you next time.
See you next
Bye.
time.